From Kathmandu, we took a flight by Sri Airlines to the mountains to witness the world's highest peak, the Mount Everest, from the sky, along with a few more 8,000ers like Mount Lhotse, Mount Makalu, Mount Cho-Oyu, Mount Shisha Pangma-8013 etc. Mount Annapurna 1, Dhaulagiri and Manaslu we saw from Pokhara, whereas Mount Kanchenjunga we saw from Darjeeling and Sikkim. Part of Mount Nanga Parbat could be seen from Gulmarg in Kashmir, but the main peak falls in Pakistan, along with four others such as K2, Gasherbrum 1 and 2 and Broad Peak. Here in this video I have uploaded some snapshots of the top 10 peaks seen by me. But before I proceed towards this video itself, let me narrate a story of a genius who had performed the herculean task of measuring the world's highest peak from his office at Calcutta, never having coming even close to the peak. The story goes like this. In the year 1887, British officer Colonel Andrew Scott Waugh named the highest peak of the world as Mount Everest, after the name of Sir George Everest, who had initiated the move to measure the altitude of the peak, earlier named as Peak 15. Otherwise, earlier it was thought that Mount Kanchenjunga was the highest peak of the world. The work of the Great Trigonometrical Survey in the Indian subcontinent began under the chairmanship of Colonel William Lambton, and then Sir George Everest was working under him as an assistant in Hyderabad. After the death of Colonel Lambton, Sir George Everest took over as Superintendent of Survey of India. He was then in search of a mathematician for survey work when Dr. John Tytler proposed the name of his best student, Radhanath Sikdar, who was a scholar of Hindu College, now known as Presidency University of Kolkata. Radhanath Sikdar joined GTS and his post was that of a computer. I repeat, the post name was computer. George Everest wanted to measure the altitude of the highest peak of the Himalaya, but before he could accomplish his job, he retired from his services in 1843, and Colonel Andrew Scott Waugh took over from him. Radhanath Sikdar too was transferred to Calcutta. Radhanath Sikdar from his Calcutta office calculated the altitude of the peak as 29,002 feet in the year 1852 most accurately. Colonel Waugh secretly cross-checked the calculation of Sikdar and found it to be accurate. He then proposed in writing to London Royal Geographical Society to name the peak as Mount Everest, which was accepted. Now, in Nepal, this peak is called as Sagarmatha, while Tibetans call this peak as Kumulungma, meaning Mother of Earth. Whereas Radhanath Sikdar, the brain behind this Herculean task, simply went into oblivion. Not a single peak in the Himalayas has been named after him. British authorities never proposed even a reward or award for this man. He silently retired from his service. A newspaper report in Hindustan Times was published in May 30, 2021, proposing Mount Everest should be named after the mathematician Radhanath Sikdar, said mountaineers and the authorities at the Himalayan Mountaineering Institute in Darjeeling and the Radhanath Sikdar Himalayan Museum at Chandannagar in Bengal's Hooghly district, India, where the almost forgotten genius lived his last years and died in the year 1870. Now I urge everyone, after watching this video, please make it viral so that the world knows about this great scholar of India who undertook this Herculean task of measuring the altitude of the mountain peak and never got a recognition. Please do watch and share as much as possible to make Radhanath Sikdar's name viral throughout the world. Thank you. We took a flight from Kathmandu domestic airport, which flew us over the mountains of the Himalayas. It was a 50 minutes flight which started at 9 a.m. in the morning of 9th November 2024. Fortunately, the sky was absolutely clear and the snow-covered mountains under the blue sky was absolutely stunning from the flight. There were 26 passengers in the aircraft and all were provided with window seat. Everyone had their cameras ready in their hands. A chart of the mountains were provided by the airlines showing the names and altitude of the mountains. As we flew over Kathmandu city and approached the snow-clad mountains, the first I could see was the Dhaulagiri Annapurna range and Manaslu, the 7th, 8th and 10th of the 8000ers respectively. But we got close to Langtang Lerung at 7234 meter and far behind it was Shisha Pangma-8013, the last of the 14 peaks, that is the 14th one in the 8000er series. One by one we came across the mountains that the climbers dream to scale and create history. But we are pleased that at least we got the opportunity to view these with our eyes and record our visit. That is Langtang Lerung, 7234 meter in front of the screen, and very small on the right hand is Shisha Pangma, 8013 meter. Not very clear from here because it's too far away from Langtang Lerung, and slowly we are getting closer. Slowly we are getting closer, and one by one we are crossing Dorje Lakpa, Furbi Gyachu, Choba Hamare. These are all around 6000 and 5000 meters in range. And now that we can see on the right side is Gauri Shankar at 7134 meters. We shall get close to that and I will describe that when we are very close to that. Now we are very close to Gauri Shankar. That is Gauri Shankar in front of the screen, and next to Gauri Shankar is Melungse. This is Gauri Shankar, that is Melungse. Gauri Shankar is 7134, Melungse 7181, and then comes Chugi Mangu at 6297 meter, Peak Ferrago at 6620 meter, and that peak behind is number 6957. Now we are very close. Here comes Karyolang 6511, and there it is Cho-Oyu 8201. Cho-Oyu is 8201, that peak behind, and to the right of Cho-Oyu is Gyachung Kang 7252 meter. Cho-Oyu is the 6th highest peak out of the 8000ers. How do mountaineers follow their route in these terrains is truly mind-boggling. I believe all those smaller peaks I can see here should not be less than 5000 meters, and I have also heard that the smaller peaks are the most difficult to scale. Out of the same is Nanda Devi Peak in Uttarakhand, India, which is around 7,817 meters, but it is very difficult to scale the Nanda Devis. Similarly, it should be here too. Now we are flying beside the world's highest mountain, Mount Everest, right in front of the screen. Sagarmatha in Nepal, Kumulongma called by the Tibetans. And this mountain was measured by none other than an Indian mathematician, Radhanath Sikdar, who is named nowhere in the books of the history, anywhere in the world. On the right side of the screen is Mount Makalu. Mount Everest and Mount Lhotse are very close together in the screen. We are flying just in front of the highest mountain of the world. We shall be getting closer. Here is a closer view of Mount Everest. Behind Lhotse, right side is Mount Makalu, and just in front of the screen is Mt.Everest. Mt.Everest is above 6,000, and that is Mount Makalu, the fifth highest mountain. Lhotse is the fourth, and the aircraft will soon turn the other way around so that the passengers on the other side of the aircraft can see the mountains from their side. Till now it was on my side. We are just in front of Mount Makalu. This is Mount Makalu. The flight to the mountains would never have been possible without the cooperation of one person from Nepal. I am really grateful to him for having organized such a wonderful journey to the Mount Everest. His name is Shri Deepak Koirala from Nepal, who runs a travel agency in Kathmandu in the name of Nepal Holiday Makers Tours and Travels. His name and phone number is provided in the description box. You may contact him for Nepal visit.
This is the center, actually straight up, and that is my left.
Right on my screen. After completing a successful round of the mountains in the Himalayas and seeing Mount Everest, we are returning back to Kathmandu. Really, it was a wonderful trip. God's greatest creations amongst all. First water, air, and then I think Mount Everest. Just keep on enjoying. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please share, subscribe, and thank you so much, and make this video viral to let people across the world come to know of Radhanath Sikdar, the mathematician who calculated the altitude of the highest peak of the world, Mount Everest, but did not get any recognition from anywhere. Please do so. Thank you.